Son of a glitch.
Mario Kart 7. Nintendo ran out of interesting names for the kart series and simply resorted to numbering subsequent entries. Well, I guess aside from Super Mario Kart, Super Circuit, and Double Dash, every other entry was pretty lazy in terms of naming conventions. But anyway, Mario Kart 7 is actually when Nintendo said, wow, some of the other ones are kinda broken, we should fix that. And then they made the second most solid game in the franchise. But that doesn't mean there aren't some glitches to mess around with, so let's kick things off with a minor glitch in Toad Circuit. On the second lap when the glider ramp is up, it's possible to glide and land on top of the tunnel entrance and get stuck like this. You'll be able to stay on the edge as long as you don't point the kart towards the ground or press B to close the glider. This really isn't anything huge glitch-wise, but it's fun to see the game freak out. I mean, what is this? Ah, nailed it. Another glitch you can try is reversing into the glider ramp, and it'll push you backwards around the track, which kinda makes sense I guess, but strangely enough, you can also perform tricks this way too. Is this okay? Am I doing this right? Sadly, it doesn't seem like you can glide backwards, which, if I'm honest, would actually make this glitch interesting. Here's another useless but mildly entertaining glitch within the time trial menu. When cycling through other players' ghost times from around the world, pay attention to the flags next to their names. It'll sometimes change completely for some unknown reason. For instance, clearly I'm from the UK, but now I'm from France, and then somehow I became Japanese. Sate, chikyujo de doyata okota no desu ka? Okay, now let's move on to some of the more useful and interesting glitches in the game. In Dino Jungle, it's possible to get out of bounds by using this tree log on the track and then getting this upward angle followed by boosting with a mushroom. Now this can be hit or miss, as the angle needs to be extreme enough to clear an invisible wall. You'll hit a secondary wall serving as a backdrop to the course, and this will place you behind the fence at the sides of the track. You can now go around the edges of the course along the fence, bearing in mind that it's super easy to clip back onto the track at points, and you can only go so far as this post kinda halts your progression. Honestly, there's not an awful lot to see here unless you really enjoy going through cut down trees. I mean, there's a lot of logs here that just aren't solid beyond the fence. I mean, why would they be? You're not supposed to be here. If you drive around the other way, you can go up a small hill, and this wall here is questionable. But this is as far as we can go on our off-road adventure. The method for getting out of bounds in Dino Jungle can be used elsewhere in the game for the same purpose. Take, for example, Coconut Mall, which in Mario Kart Wii had one of my favorite out of bounds in any game so far. Here, things are slightly different, but we'll go into that once we actually breach the boundaries of the course. Firstly, we need to drive halfway through the course and reach this corner near a red and white barrier. Just like Dino Jungle, we need to reverse the kart off this ledge and then before the kart drops off, boost and then jump. Hopefully, if you time this just right, which isn't easy, you'll clear the barrier and end up out of bounds. But here's the kicker, and the reason why this glitch is probably better seen than trying yourself. Unlike the Mario Kart Wii version of Coconut Mall, the area you can drive around is incredibly small and basically pointless. Lakitu just grabs you if you go more than a few feet away from the course, which makes me so sad you wouldn't believe. Even more so if it took you a few attempts to get here. There's another out of bounds in this course, and for this glitch you'll need to get a buddy to help you out. So to try this glitch out, I asked my pal Gilly to jump online with me for some Mario Kart glitchin' fun, but Nintendo had other ideas. You'll see what I mean. It seems like you need a big character like Bowser and the red monster tires, and presumably on whatever kart you want. And the other player can be a featherweight character like Toad or Shy Guy. We then needed to drive around Coconut Mall backwards and to a certain point of the course, but every time we tried, we got disconnected. The game was just like, nope, you're not playing right, I know what you're trying to do. So unfortunately, we had to scrap that approach, as fun as it was to try. Then I used the download play function on my old 3DS to have 2 players in this course, and this method worked just fine. You need to drive to the section just past the glider ramp and you'll see this gap between the wall and the curb. The smaller cart needs to be slightly sideways, and then Bowser needs to drive into the side of it, which should push it out of bounds after a few attempts. Again, the Wii version of the course is way better to explore, as Lakitu just likes to help and spoil it for everyone, so thanks I guess, you learn to do your job better, appreciate it. You'll make it to a roundabout here, and then it's over. The fun just ran out. Okay, let's wipe away the glitchy tears and focus on some glitches that are actually useful. After all, this is a racing game, and we want to get some decent time trials, am I right? In the course Wuhu loop, there are two simple glitches that actually make Lakitu place you further into the course than he should. Normally, if you drive off the edge like this, Lakitu is supposed to drop you here, just before the beginning of the third lap. However, if you drive off this section of the course specifically and boost using a mushroom, you'll be put way further into the third lap, and the game still thinks you're in the second lap, as you didn't trigger the third lap correctly. The tune for the final lap even plays as you finish the course, which is cool and slightly confusing. It's a relatively specific glitch, but nothing too difficult, and it can shave a lot of time off this course in time trial. The third lap isn't even a second long. But there's a slightly more interesting version of this glitch. If you drive up to the lighthouse in this course, once you go over these two boosts, turn right and then with a mushroom, boost and jump off the cliff. You'll now be placed just before the finish line, so good job Lakitu, you practically finished the time trial for us. There must be something about the name Wuhu, because Maka Wuhu has a very similar glitch to Wuhu Loop. This glitch is performed after you hit the second lap, and turn right and then boost into the water, pretty simple. Once again, Lakitu is all too helpful and places you a good way into the course, skipping the entire cave section and going around the castle. There's another shortcut, if you can call it that, involving this same kind of glitch. In DK Jungle, when you enter the temple section of the course, you need to boost and then jump at this corner, and if you get far enough, the game puts you just before the glider ramp. Though honestly, this saves about 2 seconds if that, and it's difficult to trigger. One Lakitu skip glitch like this that isn't too difficult though happens in Bowser Castle 1. After the first set of thwomps, you take a right and then just drive forwards and then simply jump this small block wall into the lava. When you're placed back on the track, you'll have skipped this part of the course, so that's cool. However, I found you won't be able to jump the wall with featherweight characters like Toad, so don't waste your time trying like I did. Next up is a glitch that's straight up useful and takes a tiny bit of skill. In the Daisy Cruiser course, there's a glitch that clips you through the ground to the lower section and skips a good chunk of the course. To do this, choose a featherweight character like Toad and choose the Koopa clown cart with slick tires. Once on the course, you need to approach the edge of the deck and then turn to the right. You kinda bump the rail and drop, and if you get a good angle, you'll fall through this orange and white ridge to the section below. This takes some practice, but it's not as difficult as it seems, and yet again knocks a lot of time off your laps. A much trickier shortcut can be pulled off in the Luigi's Mansion DS course. At the steps of the mansion, you can do a similar trick to what you saw in Dino Jungle. Firstly, you'll need to line yourself up roughly like this. You then reverse to get an extreme upwards angle on the steps and then boost to get some height. What happens next can be totally hit or miss, as positioning is key to getting this glitch. Hopefully what happens is you'll hit this pillar and get knocked through the ground and land in the final section of the mansion. You know, for a course called Luigi's Mansion, it suddenly becomes a lot less about being in the mansion. And this glitch saves about 10 to 15 seconds overall. A very similar glitch shortcut can be used in Neo Bowser City. On the first lap round, you'll hit the glider ramp leading to the starting line, and what you'll need to do is mushroom boost and glide under the Mario Kart sign. You'll next need to land on this raised ledge under the bridge. Bear in mind it's very easy to overshoot this or fall too short. From here we need to pull off a trick like in Luigi's Mansion, reversing off the ledge and then boost and jump at the right time. If you do this successfully, you'll land on the upper part of the track and skip all of this section of Neo Bowser City, yet again saving a lot of time. Before we check out one of the craziest shortcuts in the game, let's see Lakitu get it wrong yet again in Koopa Cape. At this point in the course, you have to boost and then jump where the red fence begins, and you'll need to get some distance to trigger the glitch. Yet again, we're placed a lot further into the course than we're normally supposed to be, so good times, literally. I'll stress this one is a bit tricky to get and took me a few attempts to trigger, which means it might be pretty specific. And finally, the strangest shortcut in the game happens in Maple Treeway, and it's all to do with the way you enter the huge cannon. At the beginning of the course, take a right onto the alternate path and follow the tunnels around and across the bridge until you reach this point. Now to set up this glitch, line up your kart like so and then drive straight forward without pressing any direction. You'll hit the boost and then you need to aim for this part of the tunnel sides, and once you're driving up it, hold left on the control stick and jump with the right trigger. You'll instantly see the small jump that happens after this, and then you'll need to hold down and slightly left on the control stick. What's happened is you've entered the cannon with some added height, and this carries into the gliding section. With this added height, you can now land on top of the course near the giant wigglers. Of course, they like to be trolls and get in your way after you finally pull this trick off naturally. This shortcut takes a lot of practice to get the timing down, and you'll fail in lots of spectacular ways until you pull it off. But yet again, it's great for time trials. And that about wraps things up with Mario Kart 7, which is not as crazy glitch-wise as some of the other entries into the series, but nonetheless a lot of fun. A huge thanks to Gil of Gilly the Kid for helping me out with the Coconut Mall glitch, albeit unsuccessfully, but we had a laugh trying. He makes some very funny reviews of random games on his channel, and he's just generally a sweet dude, so please go and check him out and say hi. And as always, much thanks to Patreon supporters who really help the show. If you feel like helping too, remember even $1 is an amazing contribution, so thanks guys. And if you want to see more Mario Kart glitches, check these out too. You got Mario Kart 64, you got Mario Kart Wii, is Super Mario Kart, I mean, what more do you want? And if you like this episode, hit that like button, share it with everyone you know and love, but most importantly, please subscribe if you want to see more from the series. Head over to the Facebook page for the show. I post updates and sneak peeks to upcoming episodes and keep you guys in the know about all things Son of a Glitch. Or you can follow me on Twitter and keep updated that way, you know, if you want to.